Let's move on. Cyrano.
Cyrano.
Now, this is a movie, Alan, I think you're going to talk about Cyrano. I saw
Well,
Cyrano also, but I'm going to let you take the lead on
yeah,
this.
I mean, I'll admit I saw it on my laptop because the movie came out a while ago, and for us critics, they wanted us to get it kind of in that award contention,
Right.
FYC. And so it's the story of Cyrano. Instead of a guy with a long nose, we have Peter Dinklage, a little person, and he's in love with Roxanne. We have Christian, who's also in love with her. She is infatuated somewhat with Christian, and so Christian asks Cyrano to help him speak words that would woo the Roxanne. And so it's pretty much Cyrano. I think the big twist here is not just kind of changing the Cyrano character a bit, but also it's a musical. And I think honestly that's my biggest point of contention with this movie. Why is it a musical? I think the drama, the poetry is just good enough. The music to me was just it's what I call sing talking. These are not really songs, not songs you remember, not songs that have really great hooks to it. It's just dialogue set to music, with maybe a slight music video vibes to it, or setups. But I think that I like Cyrano, but the music just really bothered me, and I think it was more of a detriment than anything to this. Peter Dinklage is great. One thing that about Peter Dinklage is just the tone of his voice, the way he speaks, and you believe he is Cyrano in the way he talks, the poetry, and so if anything, you buy into this movie just solely on Peter Dinklage's performance. So yeah, if you're not a fan of musicals, you're probably going to skip this one. And I think also it's a period piece, and I'm two things. I'm starting to miss period pieces done well, and this is from a visual standpoint, it's done well. And then I feel like also we're moving away from this idea of falling in love, and I'm thinking, with the exception of "Marry Me," I think I just can't remember a good, just plain old fashioned good romance, and so you've got that there. So yeah, I give it kind of a 7.5.
I would give it less for the same reasons. My impression of it is almost echoing everything you already said. One, Peter Dinklage is great. I mean, he's just a great actor. It doesn't matter what, I mean, he's just really great, even when he's got a bit part in a movie. And I didn't mean bit part as a joke. I just actually meant when he has a bit part in a movie. But Dinklage is great. And it's a twist on it, but the musical aspect is awful. I mean, it's like, I might as well sing my Cyrano review. It's like what you were saying.
I was thinking the exact same thing. We should just sing this one.
It's like the talking singing. It's been done so much better in other movies, and it doesn't work here. And all I could see is, like, visually, it really looks like a lot like Les Miserables. Right. And I'm just thinking, like, I've seen that musical, and I've seen, of course, the movie with Hugh Jackman, and it's and Russell Crowe. And Russell Crowe, I think, did a better job. The songs are not, there's not one that stands out. Whereas Les Mis, there's a lot of songs that stand out. So it sort of has this look of Les Mis, but with songs that are weak. And I feel like that's what really made it less than a pleasurable experience. I mean, I would rate it probably more of a 5 or a 6. And it's almost like the story is strong enough. You didn't need the musical aspect. The musical aspect just made it, for me, like, because whenever they do the musical numbers during the Oscars, to me, that's when I go to the bathroom or go get a snack in the kitchen. I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I felt like every time a song came on, I'm like, oh, I can go do something else now until the song is over, because it's not propelling the story. Right? Like, none of the songs.
I was gonna say the music, the songs itself are just so laid back. It's just, I mean, it's literally dialogue set to music, and there's no hook. There's just no excitement or energy that comes to the scene because of the music, which is what a musical is. You're injecting energy, you're injecting emotion, and we're just not getting it.
Yeah, I really did not love it. like I say, my rating would be less than yours, around the 5 range.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'd almost like to see the non-musical version of it. I think the non-musical shorter version of it. By the way, I did not say shorter version of this movie because of Peter Dinklage. To be clear,
oh, you're getting us canceled right out the boot. Someone's gonna clip
no,
this.
It's just
Someone's gonna clip it, and then it's gonna go viral.
Someone's gonna clip it, and I'm gonna what? No, but it's just like a shorter version of this film would have been a better movie. I think it's overly, it feels overly long, and the songs make the movie drag.
Yeah.
Right? It just, you know, and you're right. Like I'm a little annoyed that, like, I almost feel like Hollywood has become so cynical that they can't even do romance right. I mean, I think Marry Me, which is not a great movie, it's just sort of an okay romantic comedy, you know, a movie we've seen before, but they don't make that kind of movie anymore, and Hollywood doesn't even know how to do romance. I mean, the Star Wars sequel trilogy, episodes 7, 8, and 9, there was no romance. There's like this little sexual tension between Kylo Ren and Rey that results in the lamest death kiss ever. Sorry to go back to Star Wars, but Star Wars.
I was going to say, how far
is it going to happen?
30 minutes. We made it 30 minutes.
Made it 30 minutes without talking about Star Wars. Well, look, see, it's already happening. I'm getting canceled. Cameron Belt says Chris Gore is ableist or heightist. He says I'm heightist.
Let me say this about the music. I tolerated the music. That's why I think my score is higher. In the Heights, the music truly annoyed me to the point where I almost walked out halfway through In the Heights. You know, that's how. So this is kind of, you know, my scale of. I think I'm so used to bad musicals that I just more or less tolerated the songs.
Yeah, well, what are you gonna do? Like, oh, this is great. Geek Truth 64 says Finn followed Rey around and screamed her name a lot. Yeah, that's romance. First of all, that's true, but it's also J.J. Abrams went on to admit that they cut something out of the movie that paid that off. He was trying to tell her that he has force powers, but I don't know why he didn't do that when the times when they were just standing around talking. Yeah. Oh my God, that last Star Wars movie is not just it's not just the worst Star Wars movie. It was the worst movie of the year that it was released, and it's an embarrassment.
Yeah, I will say the worst romance though is in the prequels between Anakin and
even that's better. Even that's
but
better.
Yeah, but it's still so. It's I mean, clearly at that point George Lucas hadn't been on a date in a very long time.
Well, that's true. I don't know. I mean, how do you romanticize being on apps looking for love and more to the point, probably looking for sex? Michael Quaid says Dinklage, blah, more like Drinklage. Am I right? And then also says, I would stay a lot longer, my friend, but I have a sick cat. I need to give medicine. It's a whole ordeal. Peace.
Oh my gosh. Good luck.
Peace to you, Michael. And I hope your cat gets better. But you know what's not going to get better? This movie Cyrano. It's going to get it. Look, I didn't completely hate it because outside of the music, you know, there's a lot going on. I thought that, you know, I thought the performances were really good. You know, and I don't know. It's
And why can't people fall in love anymore? That's
well, they can't. Yeah, or why can't, or even better. And no one's talked about this. The fact that like the character that falls in love with Roxanne is black, right? And it's like also who cares, interracial romance, but it's almost like interracial romance is now that's the default setting. Like that's the default. It's just like everything is that now. It's like I don't know. Can just I mean, it just seems like it's so overused that it's like, okay, we get it, Hollywood. I don't know if you're trying to push something, but we got it. It's cool to date outside of your ethnicity or whatever. And like, I think it's been that way for years and no one cares. But like, Hollywood really seems to push it. And it feels weird because aren't they, they're in France, right? It's France and there's a war. And like, it just seemed it seemed like, okay, I guess they're really pushing this, right? But that's just the way it is on like every TV show or every commercial. It's mixed race couples, and it's like, I get it. Like
from my perspective,
what's that?
From my perspective, the interracial marriages or relationships, they're never Asian.
Yeah, they're never Asian. It's one way.
It's like, how long are we going to stand in line here for our chance to romanticize the lead?
Yeah,
don't
I just feel like Hollywood can't do true like morality, anything like that involves like struggles with morality and moral tales, and Hollywood can't do romance. And I think maybe it's because the pool of up and coming writers have not had those experiences in real life, and therefore are incapable of translating true and meaningful real experiences they've had to paper. It's
Yeah.
all, I don't know. There's just something about it that feels very forced.
Yeah, well, I think, for it to really work, I think the actor has to be well known. I mean, look at Marry Me, Jennifer
Right.
Lopez, Owen Wilson. We buy into it because we know Jennifer Lopez, we know her track
Right.
record, we know Owen Wilson, and so when this idea of an interracial relationship comes up, we don't even think about it because we just see Jennifer Lopez and Owen Wilson,
Well,
and
look
it, and
at,
it doesn't feel like it's a diversity choice at that point.
well, Zach Z says, well, to have romance, you need a heart. And I don't know. Hollywood is sort of bankrupt that way. Geek Truth 64, bad Star Wars writing is coarse and rough and gets everywhere, just like sand. Oh my God, that's good. And then I think the writers have too many boxes they have to check to write anything
Yeah.
that feels organic or real. Absolutely. I've talked about that on
I think we're going to talk about this next week. If I'm not
we might
mistaken.
talk about that next week, but it's like, I don't know. We'll see. I've done this series of, videos for Film Courage, not to like stay with the Film Threat YouTube channel here, but when you're done, go check out Film Courage. I just did, I actually shot a bunch of videos this week with them, and one of them hit talking about Tolkien and the new Lord of the Rings series from Amazon. So check out that.
Tolkienisms.
Yeah. Well, what can you say?